Hey everyone, welcome to Bryce and Scott Stream. I'm Scott, and joining me today is my good friend Bryce. We're so excited to have you with us for another creative art session. In today's stream, we'll be working on briefly describe the art project or theme. Whether you're an artist yourself or just here to enjoy the process, we hope you'll find inspiration and have a great time with us. Remember, we love interacting with our viewers, so feel free to ask questions, share your thoughts, or just chat with us in the comments. Let's get started and unleash our creativity. Hey Bryce, did you hear about the artist who only drew with pencils?
No, I didn't. What's the story?
Well, they said they just couldn't find the point in using any other medium.
Ha! Good one. You know, speaking of pencils, I always find it funny how some artists are so particular about their tools. Like, there's a whole world of art supplies out there, but they stick to that one trusty pencil.
Oh, absolutely. It's like having a whole buffet in front of you, but only eating the breadsticks. But hey, to each their own, right?
Definitely. So what are we working on today?
Today, we'll be exploring the magical world of Kindred Heavens. And, as always, we'll be taking suggestions and ideas from our awesome viewers. So, guys, if you have any ideas, feel free to drop them in the chat.
Sounds fantastic. I can't wait to see what everyone comes up with. You know, it's like we're part of a creative think tank. That's what I love about our streams.
Absolutely. The more the merrier. Plus, sometimes the craziest ideas turn out to be the most brilliant ones. So let's put all of our creative hats on and dive into today's art venture. How'd we do?
How's that,
How is
everyone?
that,
The
everybody?
breadsticks thing got me. I couldn't. I
Is
didn't. I didn't read that before you sent it to me. So when you said the breadsticks thing, I just actually fucking lost my mind. Like, I just couldn't. Hello,
It's
everybody. So that's how we've been. We talked a lot before about how we always struggled to open our streams, and Scott would always get really upset about me just going in. We're live, and so we're taking a new approach to it.
Yeah, we're having the AI open all of our
Yeah, so
streams.
we'll get to the point where the entire stream is AI. We asked it to make us content, and it can only make us that much content.
Yeah,
So
I got to get the API so that I can just endlessly generate
yeah.
Twitch chat ideas. Anyways, hey everybody.
we're live. How are we all
And we're
doing?
live.
It'd be
It's
it'd be really funny if like no one could hear us. Like if I forgot to unmute our mics.
Yeah, that would have been hilarious.
Haha. Hee hee.
Was that AI generated too?
My whole life is
Boy,
AI generated.
speaking of what would have been funny.
What?
Speaking of pencils. What?
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 It's been a good day.
Yeah, we drove to the post office today. We drove to the
Why'd
post
we
office
drive
yesterday.
To the post office
We drove to
2
the
days
post
in a
office
row?
Monday. No, 3 days. We did Monday too. It was a different post office, but we still drove to a post office.
Oh yeah. We went to the boonies.
Yeah, we drove out to the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, I said the boonies. I just sneezed all over everything. Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
For real?
Thank you, Camp Pal, for the sub.
Thank you, Camp Pal. He heard that AI opening and he was like, "Man, these guys are great."
Been sub for 21 months. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
damn.
you very
Oh,
much.
Yeah, Camp Pal.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time.
No, I'm just stupid. That's
I remember when not super early in the Discord days, but relatively early in the Discord, chatting with them about a story they were working on. And they were very nice and very cool. Always appreciate the support.
Can I just say this is like my favorite face I've drawn in the entire book?
I really like the like new face you've fallen in love with that you draw all the time. I really like the one of Isabel and Felix.
Oh, the one I posted on Twitter.
Yeah, it makes me happy.
That's a good one.
Curse thought at this point Scott could train an AI on all the art he's got and it would work. He's way too critical to ever let anything else touch his work.
Actually, that's already happened. Like somebody's already done that. Like there's already an AI model based on my art. There's actually several, but there's one that's actually pretty good. I'm too stupid to do anything with it. So don't worry. But yeah, no, that already exists.
So what you're saying is if you weren't stupid, you would exploit this?
Well, I think that it has utility to it. Like a certain not in terms of actually doing the artwork, but I thought it was really cool looking at some of the images that people had generated and being like, okay, like this is pretty close to my style in some aspects, and I wouldn't have done this thing that the AI did, but it did this other thing that looks pretty cool in my style. That's like an idea I might play with in the future. I think that there's like a lot of utility like that. So like I would have liked to actually download and explore it more, but like I said, I'm not smart enough to do that. So, oops. Is this gonna make everyone mad at me that I'm not like railing on AI art? I know that's what
no, we've talked before about how we think that using it to create art is a negative thing, but using it as like a tool to enhance your own art is not. And what like I mean by that is like using it to help with references or to get ideas moving, stuff like that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's more just actually using it to supplement real art is the problem.
Yeah, like this panel right here, like I've drawn all of that. I've drawn this entire panel from scratch, right? But like if I had been using like an AI generator and like I noticed that it was doing like this type of face a lot, and I was like, wow, I don't do that type of face, but that looks cool. Like I might start using that. Like I think that's a legitimate application of AI. I think that's a legitimate way to use it. I don't think that like you have to just like I don't think it's binary. You know what I mean? I think there are legitimately good ways to use it to make yourself better, without like beyond just like, oh, I'm just gonna sit here and write in prompts and it's gonna
Actually,
generate the art for me.
I'll give a really good example of something that I think is really cool from a writing perspective about AI. I know it's not AI art, but I know like talking about AI is that you can take something like ChatGPT and you can feed it you can go like, oh, I have this character that I like, but I don't really know how I want him to talk, what I'm gonna do, and you can take ChatGPT and you can feed it a bunch of information about this character and then just sit and have a conversation with it as if you were talking to that character and keep working it until you kind of start to get a sense of how you want a character to speak. And even if that does nothing for you in the actual book, I think just like the idea that you could like keep building off that and keep talking to that character is a really interesting way of fleshing out characters in your head and like building characters. I don't know. I think there's stuff like that with AI that can be really cool, and ways that like you can use it to enhance your work. But I think I think, like I said, it should never supplement, like it shouldn't be doing the creative work for you. But I think there's ways like for example, it shouldn't be like, oh, I don't know how to make this character, I need ChatGPT to make a character for me, because I don't really think that's what you should use it for. But I think if it's like you already have this character and you're just kind of trying to get ideas flowing or see it in practice, I guess I think there's a lot of things that can be done like that. um so what do you think of all the doomer stuff people say about AI art being better than actual artists or replacing them completely? And my personal take on it is that it's just technology. I mean, since the moment we were all born, we've been told technology is going to replace us. It's not doomer stuff. It's just how reality is moving. I think there will always be people that want real art, and I think real art is distinctly different from AI art. I'm sure the line will just continue to blur as we move on, but I don't know. I think you can be worried about something and stress about it to the point where it hurts you mentally and productivity wise, or you can just keep doing what you're doing and live the life that's right in front of you. That's just my take on it. That's what I like to do.
It's, honestly, the whole, actually, real quick while I'm here, I'm gonna pull up. I pull up, but this is the generator that somebody used with my, um, like they trained on my style. So of course there's the classic, the hands don't make sense. There's only 3 fingers on this hand, but like you can see when the like power of the model that was trained is up, it's actually like pretty. I mean, it's like you could tell this wasn't drawn by me, but I mean, a lot of like the shading's done in a very similar way, like a lot of the same techniques. The hair is done in a very similar way, but like there's stuff that you could take from it, like sort of how like the 2 different types of shading in here. That's something that I've done, but I think that it's kind of done in an interesting way here, and like the lines are colored in here, which is something that I do sometimes. I don't do it all the time. But or like how the shading on the hair right here is like orange to match the sun because we're out here in like the warm flowers and stuff. It's just interesting to explore stuff like that. I didn't generate that, again, for the record, but yeah, it cool stuff going on. And it's weird because we were talking about AI art for like specifically anytime Otto was on stream, um, like for a long time, right? And like it's just like every time he came on, we'd be talking about it and be like, yeah, it's coming. There's probably already people that are like using this like regularly for their art. And then it wasn't more than a couple of months after that, really, or maybe a few months, but like where we started to see like the AI explosion and everyone was talking about it. So that was sort of weird to see, but so it's something that we've actually talked about quite a bit on stream, and I agree with Bryce where like it's people are always going to there's always going to be an amount of people that want to see real art from real people, right? And they're gonna say like, no, I don't want, like, because it's gonna reach a point where everybody, like, right now, like generating AI art is actually not that easy. like you have to do like the whole stable diffusion thing. It's not like you can just do it in 5 minutes like from scratch. But eventually it will be at that point, and it'll be perfect. Like you'll be able to perfectly train a model based on my art, and it won't kind of look like my art. It will look exactly like my art, or anybody's art. But I think that there is still going to be people that are like, okay, yeah, that's cool. Like I could see technically an infinite number of Scott drawings, but they still actually want to see the things that I draw, because they like my personality. But also, I think that it'll change. Like people are going to want things to be interested too. When it becomes to the point that the market is so saturated that there are literally endless millions of art pieces that could be generated, suddenly people aren't going to care so much about those, right? Like they're going to want something like if somebody uses an AI art program to make like a whole comic book, or like have some sort of story. It's like people might like that, and it's like, yeah, that's not technically like real art, but it's like, it's like a, I don't know, it's gonna be different. Like everything is gonna sort of change in the way that people intake content, but the core element of how people intake content will still be there. Like people are still going to want to see something created by humans. Nobody's going to want to sit down and just look at I mean, now people probably do it because like it's still new and cool, but like in the future I don't think people are just going to want to sit there and look at endlessly generated AI images. um I think they're going to want to see something that was made by an actual human being. And I don't think that's ever going to go away. And whether or not that thing that was made by them was assisted by AI art, I don't know. Probably will be some of it, in the future. But that's where we're going. That's not where we are now. Right now, there's not a whole lot changing. I mean, if you have any sort of perception at all, you can pretty much scroll through Twitter and spot the stuff that was generated by an AI. It's not terribly difficult at the moment, but it will be. Like in the future, like probably the very near future, it definitely will be impossible or near impossible to spot AI art.
Last question. Do you not think this whole thing is going to ruin art and creativity altogether?
No, like I said, it might change it, but and by change it, I mean, like I said, it might be something where like if you're just an artist and you like drawing pretty pictures, there are still going to be people that want to see you draw pretty pictures. Like, yes, maybe an AI art program could draw better pictures than you at when we get to that point. It might even be able to draw things in your style better than you. We're going to get to that point. But we're not there. But when we do get there, you're still going to have people that say like, okay, that's fine, but like I actually like I care about this artist. I actually care about the person that this artist is. I want to see the stuff that they make. They want to see stuff that humans make. That's never going to go away. That's always been how everything is,
It's actually a good
now
example is
uh-huh.
something like when you look at something like a spin-off with a different writer, like Boruto. Like people love Naruto, but because Kishimoto doesn't make Boruto, people don't give a shit about Boruto. You know what I mean? And I think you kind of see
Yeah.
there's kind of that similarity. Same with Super's bigger than like Boruto, but it's sort of the same thing. Of like there are a lot, like Scott and myself included, who don't give a shit about Super because it's not Toriyama, and there it's not who we want to see making what we like. And so I think obviously AI art's different because it'll be more perfect and more true to someone's style. But kind of like what I said earlier, the way I think of it is just that like there's so much doom and gloom that you can focus on, and this is with anything, not just with AI art. There's so much doom and gloom that like if you can't let stuff like that stop you or stress you out, because it's there's so many things like that, and there will always be things like that. And AI is a new problem, but it's the same problem just in a different way. What I mean by that is like there's always been with creativity challenges, there's always been things that have held creativity back or things that have attacked creativity. There's always, it could be everything from like, I mean, literally like political reasons people couldn't be creative, to something as simple as like a genre falling out of style, to something as like all these kind of things. And like, it's, if you want to make something, just make it. And if it's good, or if you work hard enough, or if the cards shake out, if just life works the way it'll work, people will find it, people will like it, regardless of what other things are going on in the world. Because AI can only provide, it can only provide regurgitated things, and it can paint those things to look new, but we as humans can only provide new, unique ideas. And I think you just need to just not think about it. Honestly, I just don't think about it. Like, I just don't think about the fact that, like, here's a good example is Scott and I, because we were curious about what it would do, we took some of a script we were working on and fed it to an AI, and we're like, rewrite this, but like do this and do this, and just to see like what would happen differently. And I feel like that would, and not like to use it. No, like, I'm gonna clarify, like, we didn't even use any. We were just like, what would you, how would you do this if you had to make it in like 2 pages or 1 page, or if this character acted differently? Just because we wanted to see like if it could kind of come up with new ideas, or if it could do things differently than it could. And we didn't really care about the results that much, but like, I feel like that would stress a lot of people out, the idea that AI can do that. But I think you just need to like think about you and what you can do, not about what the AI and what the AI can do, because that's really no different, at least to me, than the conversation of like, this person's better than me, so why should I try? Or this person can do this, so why should I try? Because like, it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing or anything else is doing. It matters what you're doing. And that's what you should focus on. That's what I focus on creatively. Everyone can do their own thing, but like for me, that's how I have such a positive headspace about it. I just don't think about it. I just think about what I'm doing.
Also, I think this will lead to, people sort of confronting what's different about AI versus like CGI in movies. Like if that example you gave, like that comic strip, if we had a comic script and we were like, okay, here's a section of 5 pages of this comic script, but it needs to be 2 pages long, and we can't figure out how to shorten it. We feed it to Chat GPT shortens it to 2 pages, and we're like, okay, good, this works. Like, is that using AI to help with the script? Yes, but is that different than like using CGI and animation to make the animation process faster? I don't think so. Is it like, are you not being creative at that point? I don't think so. Like, I mean, I think you're still being like, you're using it as a tool. Now, if you sit down and you say, hey, ChatGPT, write a whole story for me and like write the script and do everything, like, no, that's obviously different. But like, exactly where the line is between those two extremes, I think that's going to take us a long time to figure out as like content enjoyers, you know, where where that line falls, because that's really the whole key. Now, what'll really be interesting is right now, and for the very foreseeable future, right? Um, AI can, like, in terms of art specifically, like, yeah, it can go out there, it can generate some images. The images can look pretty good, so on and so forth. I think what will be really interesting is, and so for like in the immediate future, we're gonna see people that are like making it by on their personalities, sort of what I talk about, where it's like, oh yeah, like people want to see a drawing by Scott, they don't want to see an AI drawing. But we are eventually going to get to the point where an AI is capable of like the whole shit, of generating a whole personality, like a whole online persona, and then eventually, able to do like streams and everything with AI generated stuff, and like it'll be pretty much impossible to tell who's real and who's not. Now, at that point, I don't know. I mean, everything. Here's what I'll say. I think everything's going to become harder for creatives. Like, I think there will always be room for human people, but I think it's about to get a lot harder. And kind of like Bryce said, there's just nothing you can really do about it other than try and cultivate your fan base so that people always will follow you. But yeah, I do think it's gonna get harder for everybody to do what they want to do and to stand out. It's interesting. I don't know. It's so wild. Like I said, I remember us all talking about this last year. Last couple of years, really. And I'll also say that, like, I think the stuff that we're seeing that is being created with and generated with AI, that is just a fraction. And I think this is pretty obvious too. That's just a fraction of what it's actually capable of right this second. I think that there are probably people, and I said this even, like last year when we talked about this. I think there are people that their account is, 90% AI, like even the stuff that they write, that they tweet, whatever. And that maybe you could tell, like, if you really look at it, but it's impossible to really know for sure. Um, I remember I actually just seen they have a new there are people that are working on like AI agents that essentially you can just give a prompt to a generator and it will create like an online agent to do something for you. Like you could say, create a Twitter account that reposts memes and get 50,000 followers. And the agent will actually go out on Twitter and execute that and try and get a meme account with 50,000 followers. That'll happen. That has happened. That is already happening. And we just don't know exactly which accounts that is all the time. And that's not to say like, I don't know, for every part of it that's like scary and it's like, oh my God, like there's also a part of that that's exciting. You know what I mean? That like it has its goods and bads. And like with any technology, I don't know. It's hard to have any sort of definite opinion on it because it's something that moves so fast and so like,
And it's so
you know,
unknown. It's like
it's
literally
so unknown.
it's we don't know what's happening. We don't know where it's gonna go. It's like I said, I don't know. I know a lot of people are very doom and gloom about it, but I just view it as just do your own thing.
I can see the positives in it. Like I said, there's so many things that will benefit the human race out of this, and even creatives, and make our jobs easier. Like in the future a little bit. I mean, it'll be harder to be, probably successful at whatever we're doing, but it'll, there will be tools that'll make it easier that maybe it won't compensate fully. It'll compensate a little bit. There's a lot of nuance to it, and the whole online discourse about it is very difficult. Like with most things, it's very difficult to have any sort of nuance with it online. People are like, they hear AI art and they screech and are like, no, it's bad. And like, no, I mean, it could be good. I think the people that are going to be the worst off are the people that aren't embracing it at all and they're trying to like hide from it. Because like it's coming. It's already here, but like it's coming even faster than we probably realize. And the people that are just trying to like completely ignore it and be like, no, like nobody, this won't happen, whatever, blah blah blah, like those are the people that are gonna have a hard time because they haven't been thinking about it at all. They don't have any sort of idea or game plan, or like they don't know how to potentially use it to even help them keep up with this rising new thing. So yeah, I just think maybe we should be a little less afraid of it. Now the other issues, like there's the obvious copyright problem, like using copyrighted images to generate other images. That's a different conversation. That's something that I don't want to get too deep into. But like the concept of it in general is, it is what it is. It's not like we can avoid it.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. We gotta get Otto on stream. To talk about it again.
That is true. So you're saying I really do only have 1 to 2 years to do my dream creative projects? I don't know. I don't know if I would say that. I don't think that it'll ever inhibit anyone from making anything.
No,
that's why I said I don't think you should. I don't really think you should think about it. Because I don't think it will inhibit anything from being made, and I think if you have something to make it. And that's what it is. Like even if you told me that, the way I view things is that even if you told me no one would read it, if I have something I want to make, I'm going to make it because I want to make it and I want to put it out, and I don't really care about whether it's like, obviously I want things to be successful, but I didn't write the Panty Bear to be successful. I wrote the Panty Bear because I wanted to write the Panty Bear. And so just make what you want to make.
Yeah, I think that the same rule will still apply. The same rule that's governed every creative project ever. And it's that if you make it and it's good enough, people will like it. People will latch onto it. That's always been true. And I think that's always going to be true. Now, I think that the bar for what is good enough might change. It might get harder. Like you might have to make something that's even better than before for it to be successful. But like the same principle still works. Like if you make something that's really, really good and that it's good enough, like people are still going to read it.
Yeah, I think it's just that you'll just be dealing with more, and people's attention spans will have more things to look at. But if Here's the bluntest way I can put it. There are already 7 billion, 8 billion people in the world, and so many of them want to create and are creating. There are all AI really does not, it doesn't matter how good it is or how many it is, like you're already competing with, if you are thinking purely about people looking at it, you're already competing with a billions of eyes and billions of people that want to create. So really, it doesn't change much. That's why I said, like, you just really shouldn't. To me, it just doesn't really change much. I mean, like, it's already you're already in this playing field with a lot of people wanting to make a lot of thing, and a lot of other people. A lot of people have the same dream, and so it doesn't. AI doesn't really change that. I don't think. That's why I said you should always make for yourself. Because that's what gets things made, and that's what makes you happy with creating. When you try and create for things other than yourself, that's when you're not in a good place. I feel like that's when it's very hard. It's not very fun. As someone who writes music that never gets posted, I create to create because I love creating and aspire to improve. If people like my music, awesome. If they don't, oh well, keep working on improving. That's a really good way to think of it, and that's kind of how I think of it. And I know that's how Scott thinks, or at least did think of it for the longest time. That's like, we always say, and I feel like it comes off a little weird when we say it, because I know right now, like, things are going well for us, but we wrote and drew and did all this, like, all these principles we talked about, we lived by for 6 years before anyone ever read our work. So it's just, sometimes things take a long time. Sometimes, it's the way the cards shake out. But as long as you're doing those things and living by those principles, I do genuinely think eventually you will achieve whatever it is you want to achieve out of life. But if you don't do those things at all, then you're not putting yourself in the position to achieve those things. And that's a really big, I forget who sort of instilled that in me. It might have just been something that I cobbled together through a lot of, like, talking to different people. But I think that, like, a big part of life is putting and, like, wanting to achieve certain things is putting yourself in the place to achieve those things. Being that guy that has that thing written or has that thing done or that thing ready to show off when the right person asks. Being in that position, and you never put yourself in that position if you don't start. So this is Kindred Heavens, our book.
So this is our book. I'm drawing it.
This is a flashback sequence in the book, which is why it's not.
That's why it's in black and white. You can't buy this book yet, but you can soon. But you know what you can buy? The Panty Bear at BryceandScott.store for $10.
True. You know what we need to put more in books 2, 3, and 4? Flashbacks. Because I like seeing young Heiner.
Yeah, with his big old mustache.
Yeah, we don't see, in what Scott and I have done for books 2, 3, and 4, you don't see a lot of young Heiner. You mostly older Heiner. Spoilers. I don't care. But young Heiner, yeah, just make his hair red. Just change everything. But yeah, I like it. I'm a sucker for flashback sequences. I really like when I get to write them.
What about void sequences?
We do like void sequences. I don't know why the links command isn't working. Did it work for me? It worked for me. I don't have the Panty Bear store link in there yet, but I've never been too good on flashbacks. Got to keep that plot rolling. Well, I will say I actually fucking hate flashbacks. And so what I mean by this is, like, I only use them, like, I never be like, ooh, I have this thing I want to show in the past. Flashback time. I just write them when I feel like they're. It's like this flashback, I don't think Scott and I even plotted this out. I think I just came up with this and wrote it when I was writing. Right, Scott?
Pretty sure. Yeah.
And that's basically the only time we ever really use flashbacks. Is when it's just like I'm writing and I'm like, this feels good, because I feel like if you plot them, unless you really need one, I feel like if you plot them, they feel like you're trying. Do I gotta switch off your screen? Are you good?
No. I'm good.
Okay. Is this going to be available digitally? Also, can I pay with the drawing of Lucy in a cute outfit? I don't know about paying with the drawing of Lucy, but it will be available digitally when it comes out.
Yes.
When it does come out for the Kickstarter, I will say that the first tier will be a digital tier, and after that, it'll be a digital. And like if you buy the physical book, you also get it digitally. So.
Did we send a copy of the Panty Bear in chat? Like a link?
No, I didn't because I don't have it in the links thing. Do you want me to grab it real quick?
Got you.
Okay. I'll put it. Remind me, and I'll put it in the links thing. I honestly just forgot.
I got you.
But anyway, that's where you can buy our book. And there's a coupon code for 10% off. 15% off. It's Panty Bear launch party. Yeah, if you do that, you get 15% off. First 100 people to do it. I think like 30 people have done it. We've had a fair bit of people buy the book, but only like half of them have used the code. Use the code. Get the 15% off. We want people to get 15% off.
It won't be there forever.
So please, if you buy the book, use that code. We want people to use that code. But yeah, this I'm always cautious of entering card info on sites. Yeah, we will have PayPal back eventually. We had a problem with PayPal on the first day and it refunded some people's orders, so we just don't have it available at all right now. We'll get it figured out. It's not that hard of a fix. It's just a little bit of a hassle. I will say our website, because you said it's not well known, it's powered by Shopify, which if you've ever bought anything recently, like from a small store, it's always powered by Shopify. I mean, it's secure. It's just Shopify. It's all like, we didn't set any of the business end stuff up. It's just, we just built the store. Shopify handles everything. I mean, it's all secure. It's all there on their end and everything. Like I said, if you go to checkout, that store screen that you will see, Makeship, I'm pretty sure uses Shopify because theirs looks the exact same. A lot of small businesses and businesses like, I will say I can't confirm if these places use it, but it all looks the same. Like they all, the Shopify is a very distinct look, and I think Makeship uses it.
Yeah, we don't handle any of the back end. Like we just get your order, and like where you want the book shipped to, basically, and then we ship out the book, and that's all we do. We don't handle like the credit cards or anything like that.
Yeah, like I said, that's all Shopify, which is very well known, very well used. A lot of people really love it. Like I said, it's basically like what every small business uses these days, because it's kind of like how like when Squarespace appeared, it was like, look, this is what you can build your website on as a small business. Well, Shopify is the same thing, but like the store aspect of it is actually really good, whereas the store aspect on Squarespace isn't the greatest. We actually built the website originally using Squarespace, and I didn't like it, and so I rebuilt the whole website using Shopify. Yeah. So I can say it's safe. Also, I will say, just because I really love it, if you ever have to ship anything out, I highly recommend the service Pirate Ship. They're great to work with. Their customer services are great. They're really nice. The website works great. It integrates with all kinds of websites really well. Big recommend if you ever need to print postage. They're my goats. Certain other websites that banned us for no reason I can't recommend. But I can recommend Pirate Ship a lot. They're very, very great. They have great deals on shipping, and they help you with anything you need help with. So they make it very easy to ship out a package. You know, this is this part of the book. Do you think this is the most rewritten part of the entire book?
Maybe. Hard to say. Let's see. I don't know. That opening got rewritten a lot.
Yeah, maybe I don't think of it that way because the opening got rewritten a lot, but once we finished it, I don't think we've touched it since, have we? Like once we had the big redo. I guess I can talk about that. Like we initially wrote the book because we talked about how before we were sending it around to people and stuff like that. For one, I also want to say it's nice being able to talk about what we're working on, isn't it? Like not having to like just say like, oh, we can't talk about that. I like the one thing I like about putting a book out ourselves is that we get to talk about it a lot. But we had to tear apart the opening and redo it because of like some feedback we got when we were sending it around. And so the opening of the book went through quite a bit of changes, but I think once we settled on it, I don't think it got changed at all. I would say one day, like after the book is out, we should show off like the original pitch pages that we drew. But I realized the pitch pages we drew were from book 3. Book 4? Book 3? I think book 3.
Either 3 or 4, yeah.
So we couldn't even show those off until we got
one day, a long time.
You'll get to see the original pitch pages for it, but it's too deep in the book for us to, or it's too deep in the series for us to show. Because when you send something around to a publisher, you don't have to do the first 10 pages. You can do any 10 pages. They just need to see sequential artwork. Basically, they just need to know that you can draw a comic book. So typically you're advised to either do your first 10 pages or to do your best 10 pages. And normally we do our first 10 pages, but with this, when we first pitched it around, we did what we thought were our best 10 pages. And then we were told they were not the best 10 pages. And so we redrew the whole thing and did the first 10 pages instead. You know what we should show on stream as like a teaser? You should show that splash from page 1. If you don't mind.
Yeah, I'll show that here in a second.
Just because I think that's really cool.
Gonna make this my profile picture.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Plan on bringing back dono rewards? Maybe eventually. Maybe eventually we'll have some kind of like dono thing or chat thing. But Scott, I think we talked about it on a prior stream. We don't really like asking for donations. Like our Patreon information's like public and people can see like what we do and stuff like that. And I just feel like it's a little corny to ask for donations when you don't necessarily need them, at least for our tastes. We don't make our living off donations or anything, or off Twitch. So like I think him and I both feel a little weird asking for donations because I would rather that money be donated to people that need it more, or I'd rather be paid for something like, hey, we're paying you for this service, we're paying for your Patreon, we're paying for your book, or you donate that money to someone who needs it more.
Subscribe.
Yeah, or like subscribe. Like I'd rather people pay for content than just give me money because I'm here, because I don't think that's I don't think I really need that or deserve that.
Plus it's also I think there's some we have a lot of stuff, especially coming up, that like you can, if you really want to support us, you can do you can buy the Panty Bear, you can join the Patreon, you can do we're gonna have other merch soon, maybe, probably. There's gonna be a lot of stuff that you can do, so we don't really worry too much about donations, and for streaming in general, we just kind of want it to be kind of chill and hanging out with some buds. We don't want to worry about doing a bunch of reward. I don't want to draw with my left hand ever again. Although that wasn't even a dono reward.
No, that was just a channel point thing.
Yeah, it was a stupid thing that we did.
Would you have sponsors? Yes. Yeah,
yeah.
We would. Yeah.
No, we love money.
I should clarify, as much as we probably sound like, oh, we really don't care about money. No, we would chill for money.
No, really, the complete honest answer is we would just rather you spend the money on other things that we do. We'd rather you buy our book. We'd rather you join the Patreon and whatnot. No, we like money.
Here's the best way to put it. I don't feel comfortable asking for money and not giving something in return. And I think that's my biggest problem with like the donation things is like I feel like you're just giving me money for me not doing anything. With Patreon, buying a book, you're getting something from me. Sponsors, I don't give a fuck. I'll take money from anyone rich. Rich people can give me their money all fucking day. I don't
One
care.
time I got offered to promote like an inflatable or like a stuffed plush penis toy under one of my posts, but then I didn't message them back in time.
You know what we should do?
So
We should
it
get
didn't
in.
happen.
We should start getting in with like porn companies and like sex toy companies. I bet they would sponsor us. I bet we could get a Love Sense sponsorship.
Maybe.
They sponsor porn games. All I'm saying is we should look into it. Would you ever open commissions? You opened commissions earlier this year.
That's true, I did. Not a lot
Only
of
for
people know
patrons, but
that. Yes. I opened commissions for about how long was it? 3 minutes? 5 minutes?
you took 4 commissions. You had me make the. I think you took 4, but then there was like one you really liked, so you took an extra one maybe. I don't remember though. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But I remember that you told me to post it, and you said when I tell you to delete this, delete it. And it was. This sounds like we're bragging, but it was like I literally barely had time to like do anything else before you told me to delete it, and we had a lot of messages.
So I mean, I probably will do that again this year. I just don't know exactly when, but yeah, well, I'll probably do that again this year. It'll probably be the sort of thing where it's just like to patrons. Like I'll just post on Patreon like, "Hey, commissions are open. First come, first serve," or not. It might just be like I'll pick the ones I like. That's kind of what I did last time.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine posting that on Twitter. You'd get too many responses.
No, I mean I would like to maybe one day, but yeah, for right now it'll probably just be on Patreon. And then if you want one, you can just come get one.
Precise asked what your comm prices are. Do you feel comfortable saying that or no?
It depends on what form, like what I'm doing. Like when I opened commissions on Patreon, they were lower than what they normally would be. Like if I open them on Twitter or something, because it's patrons, so I didn't want to like charge like as much as I normally would. I wanted to sort of give them a little bit of a patron discount. But also it depends on a lot of things. Like if I'm ever, God forbid, in a spot again where I'm like, oh man, I need money really fast for some reason, like something happens, then prices would be lower. If I just open them like because I'm in a good mood and I have some free time, they might be a little lower. If I'm opening them because I'm like, okay, I want like to sort of work on that other source of income, then they'd be higher. It just really depends on the mood. But when I opened them on Patreon, they were lower than normal.
Fair enough.
But it depends on, I mean, like I said, it depends on, what time, why I'm opening them. I've wanted to open them for a long time. I've been talking about it for a while. So just like getting on Patreon, doing that was basically just something I wanted to do for myself, and for the patrons that wanted them. I wish I could do more. Like I understand that people want them, and I do wish that I had the time to do more, but I don't.
Just do that.
So I think it would be fun. Like I do enjoy seeing. I mean, I get some weird requests, and I can't tell if they're jokes or not sometimes. But for the most part, I enjoy doing them.
Would you ever do adopts or your character hears? I think that's what YCH means. Your character here.
No. I just don't. I've never had any interest in that. Nothing against the people that do. It's never interested me. So no, I don't think I would.
You could try for Bad Dragon. If we could get a Bad Dragon sponsorship, that might be it. Like we might not. I don't think we'd ever need another sponsorship afterwards. Just to say I was sponsored by Bad Dragon.
Dude, I would go full porn on Twitter.
Yeah, I think we'd both lose our fucking minds. They're
That would be
legends.
too funny
They're
to not
legends.
accept. I would do whatever they asked.
Do you think we could hook up with a toy company and make like an anime waifu? Like this is like instead of having like a porn model, it's like Lucia's your your model. And we just have like we introduce like a whole new. I bet we could convince some company to do that. You think we could get a Lucia fleshlight made? Like you know how they do like the porn star specific flashlight? Do you think we can get a Lucia one made? That'd be pretty tight. I can't
Model
lie.
off of the inside of Lucia's vag.
That we'll have to
3D
look at.
printed.
We'll have to look into that. We'll have to have our people contact their people. This is probably way far off, but a Lucia figure of any kind be killer. Man,
we've tried.
We've been trying. It's not easy. But we have. I will say, we have tried. We have made multiple figures. There are multiple Lucia figures in existence. We've either not been happy with them, or in most cases, just it's not been feasible to. If we're gonna make figures, like we want them to be a thing that we can make with some amount of consistency, or at least do a decently sized limited run of. And they're just expensive, and getting them consistently made. I will say, had can I talk about the person that we couldn't work with because of world situations, without going too in depth?
Yeah.
We had one person we really wanted to work with. We really liked them. They were really nice, and we thought it was gonna work, but they're in Russia, and all the stuff with Ukraine and everything, it really messed up.
This
us
was
being
literally as soon as the embargo happened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was. It really sucked, and we even told them, we were like, when all this is over, we would still love to work with you, because it's really sucked, because they really wanted to work with us, and we really wanted to work with them, and like we tried to think of any solution we could, and because at first it was like, okay, you can't send money to Russia, and we were like, okay, like we can, maybe like we could do something, like, because it was like you can't, but like you can for these reasons, and we were like maybe, and then it was like full embargo, and it was like, okay, so we can't do anything. We just weren't able to figure out any way to make it work. But hopefully one day, if that ever comes up, then or goes away, then hopefully we're able to get the ball rolling on Lucia figures, with that person specifically. But
just so expensive to do.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
To eat, like, because we would want to do it where we could get the price to sell it where it made sense and was reasonable, like, but figurines are expensive, as anybody knows that buys them, and then doing them in a limited quantity, like we would have to do, even more expensive. So if you've bought like normal, like mainline figures, you know how expensive they are. Small quantity print runs would be even more expensive. So it's just very
I mean, you're talking to get done hundreds of dollars per us purchasing figure.
Yeah.
So like you're talking like, say Scott and I want to make 10 figures. Like we want to make and sell 10 Lucia figurines. You're talking him and I having to put out $1,000, $1,500, and then just having to sit on that until we can recoup it and, make a profit off it. So it's like, I mean, those Lucia figures, I hope at least the 10 of them would sell with relative ease. I hope there'd be 10 people that really want them. But it's still money we have to put out and then wait, and especially because a lot of what Scott and I were looking at, it wasn't like a factory producing something, it was a person. Like we wanted to find someone we could trust to make like small runs of like figurines, like, hey, we need 10 figures, this and like that's what we were kind of looking into, because we wanted something that we thought was real, genuine, like high quality, not just something that it looked like we went to like a factory and was like, print our character.
Although we'd also like to do that, it's just that's also difficult and expensive.
Yeah, no, we would do that if we found one that hit a quality we liked. That's the
a lot of those factories have are located in China, so like shipping is super expensive. Like to get, even a few of them shipped, it's almost $1,000, and then you have to have a minimum order, and usually those are like over $10,000. It's just very difficult for like a small operation to do. What's more likely is that we do like a Lucia
Yeah.
standee,
Let me
like
switch
this
to
one
your...
of Isabel, something like this is a lot more feasible to do. Actually, we could do it fairly easily. Probably hard to see right now on my stream, but it's just this like flat 2D standee. We would like to do one of those for Lucia as well, but this is going to be for the Kindred Heavens Kickstarter. But we would like to do one for Lucia, so I guess let us know if you're interested in that.
We should clarify the actual one's bigger for the Kickstarter, right? That's the...
Yeah, the actual one's bigger. That one's like 4 inches. I think the actual Kickstarter one's going to be 6 inches, maybe 5 inches.
Yeah, I will say, without going too in depth, we do have plans to launch tentative plans and ideas of launching Lucia merch this year, hopefully. We've had a lot of talk. That's part of what shipping the Panty Bear and opening the Shopify store is about, is kind of getting used to shipping and stuff like that. But we would like to do limited runs of merch. So like we've had a few different ideas about how to do that, and nothing. No, I'm not saying like coming imminent. I'm just saying that we have talked a lot about a very strong desire to do merch, because we really loved working with Makeship, and doing the stuff with them, and we've really liked doing merch. Like, we like the little bit that we've gotten to kind of do, like with the plushies and stuff like that. And we really like, you know, people, like, it's kind of like an event. And so we've have ideas of how to do that, but on our own. Not like plushies. If we do another plushie, it'll be with Makeship, because they have it down. They're awesome, and we like working with them a lot. Yeah. And talking about different types of merch. So. Don't know how feasible they are, or if you consider them before, but a lot of artists and streamers used to be using Novel Horizons for figures lately. I've never heard of Novel Horizons. I don't know if that's a new thing or just something we didn't look into, but I will write that down real quick so I can look into it later, because it's definitely something we're very interested in doing. I mean, we're really interested in doing a lot of things. The problem is stuff that's, because like, so a lot of times it'll start and it'll be like, we have an idea, and then it becomes, okay, like, how would we do it? Like, how would we, like, for figures, how would we do it? Actually, I'll talk about the process for like the Panty Bear print. That it was like, okay, so how are we going to do it? And so we had to figure out, like, okay, like, what do we want to do to the book? What do we want to do to this? Then we had to figure out, okay, well, who are we going to have printed? How are we going to get it printed? And then we go through that, and then it becomes, okay, well, you know, how are we going to sell it? And we come up with that. We came up with like a baseline plan of how we were going to do each thing. And then it comes like budgeting. We had to figure out how much we were going to spend per book, how much it was going to take to get the book shipped to us, how much it was going to take to ship the books to people. You know, it's just like a ever evolving process. There are a lot of times we have a lot of ideas of things we want to do, but a lot of them are still in that phase of like, well, how are we going to do it? Stuff like that. A lot of them haven't even moved into the expenditures phase yet.
The moral of the story is that we want to sell you more things, but selling things is an expensive process.
It is. I mean, shit, even just getting the Panty Bear books shipped to us was a fair bit.
True. Shipping be expensive, especially from China.
Especially when you're getting 750 books shipped to you. Especially when a man drops you off about 30 boxes of books.
And then is missing one.
Yeah. But we got it.
We did get it.
Random question. Who do you guys think is the absolute best artist you know of? Like the top dog you look up to?
Myself.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like to really classify things as like best, because I think it's just very subjective, even to my own personal tastes. But honestly, when I'm thinking of best artists, do you mean like Twitter artists specifically? I guess I wouldn't say best. I would say like I have favorites, people that I really, really adore their artwork of. But I don't know who my favorites would be, because like I said, I don't really like to classify things as favorites. If you're talking about any artists, you know, I'm a very big fan of Otomo, who made Akira. I love Akira. I love the artwork in Akira. I think he has my favorite backgrounds of all time. They're very detailed and very pretty. What about you, Scott?
I just feel like that question can't be asked without at least mentioning Kim Jong-gi.
That's true. The goat.
Yeah,
It is true.
sad, 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 sad.
Talking about manga artists again. I mean, I think it's really hard to argue that Takeshi Obata isn't one of the greatest artists of all time. I mean, not just like the books he's worked on, but also like the art he's done. I really love him. I would say he's one of the first people that I read that like, because when I was like first getting into manga, I mean, that just like blew me the fuck away, and I just couldn't believe it. Especially like All You Need Is Kill and the stuff where he really gets to flex like how good he is at drawing. Like Death Note is really good, but he doesn't really get to do many things that really show off his ability in Death Note or Bakuman. Other than just going crazy with perspectives and shit in Bakuman. But in like All You Need Is Kill, he just gets to go fucking nuts for like 400 pages. Yusuke Murata, One Punch Man. Yeah, that's true. Yusuke Murata is very good. I've not read a lot of the One Punch Man manga, but anytime you see fucking Yusuke Murata art, it's crazy. There's obvious stuff like Miyazaki. If you can't tell, Scott and I like Miyazaki a lot.
No.
I don't know. I really like I like a lot of like I like Takeshi Obata and like Yusuke Murata. I think their artwork's like really detailed and it's really cool, and like you look at it and you go, wow, that took a long time. That's really impressive. But I also am a sucker for really like expressive art. It's part of the reason I love Toriyama's art so much, is I just think it's really expressive, and I think you can look at like you can look at Toriyama's art and you know it's him. You can pick up somebody that's never played a video game can pick up like Dragon Quest and be like, oh, this is Toriyama. Like, just know it's him. So I can look at Chrono Trigger and know it's him.
Yeah, I always think he's underrated when it comes to the actual like conversation of like GOAT manga artists, because I just think he's so good specifically at making manga. Like I mean, yeah, he's not whipping out like the Mona Lisa every time, right? But like when it comes to just making like character designs, paneling, all those things that go into making a comic, instead of an individual drawing, he's just so good.
I think he does a really good job of what you were talking about yesterday about like not everything's like a masterpiece. Like not every panel is like, oh, look at this, but it all just he just knows what to draw for each panel, and everything stands
Works.
out. Thoughts on Into the Spider-Verse? Yeah, I really liked it. It's really good. It's really impressive.
Great. Yeah, visually stunning. One of the few things that I've ever watched that I've been like, wow, I really don't like the story very much, but visually it's just so good that I'm into it.
Yeah, the story is fine. It has like one of those stories that starts off kind of good and then just like halfway through it remembers the superhero movie. But it's like Scott said, it's visually impressive, and I'm very excited for the second one.
Yeah, when does that come out?
It's not too far now. We keep seeing trailers for it every time we go to the theater, so it can't be too long.
You know what was weird? Speaking of movies coming out, Oppenheimer. The movie is obviously not out yet, and in fact, it doesn't come out for a little while. I remember seeing the first trailer for that movie like forever ago. I mean, like several months.
Yeah, they
ago.
showed that like there was a teaser trailer like last year, sometime. That was just like it was just him standing there basically that they showed forever ago.
And I was like, why are we getting ads for this so early compared to when the movie comes out? Like, I was like, is there some weird marketing thing that's going to happen? Is there like some plan behind this?
Are they going to nuke a city?
Are they going to nuke an actual city? Like what's happening? And as far as I can tell, there's nothing. It's just the movies, like they just started promoting it really early. I don't know. It's kind of strange. I'm excited for it.
I'm
I'm
excited for
excited
it. I'm really interested to see like what it like.
what it is.
Yeah, kind of. Like obviously it's about Oppenheimer's life. I'm really interested to see how they spend a whole 3-hour movie building to the line. Building to him saying the thing, the I am become death. It was like, I don't know, that's like I feel like what everyone knows Oppenheimer for. I mean, aside from, nuclear bombs.
Except for the thing.
I don't know, I'm really excited for it. I mean, it's a Christopher Nolan movie, which means it could go either way for me.
Won't be able to
Dude, when
hear the dialogue.
when the nuclear bomb goes off, it's gonna break the fucking theater.
Although we're going to be watching it in IMAX, so we'll probably be able to understand it. But anybody watching it at home, you'll have no idea what's being said.
Yeah, I'm interested in it. I'm excited for it.
Any other movies coming out recently? That Beau is Afraid movie with Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, I want to watch Hereditary before because I've not seen Hereditary yet, and everyone tells me how good it is. That looks cool. That looks weird. That's one of those movies that has one of the few trailers that makes me interested. Like just off the trailer alone, I was like, "Well, this seems interesting." Because it kind of like told you just enough, but not the whole thing. You know.
I love movies that have the whole plot. Or whatever. It's past.
What's wrong with you? Yeah, I don't know what all movies are coming out, honestly.
It's not like we ever go to the movie theater, so.
The Evil Dead Rise is coming out.
I've heard of that movie.
When are we going to see that? When does that come out?
I guess we'll go. Well, it comes out this weekend, but I guess we'll go see it next weekend.
Yeah, I was gonna say we can't do it this weekend. Man, unless we want to see it on Saturday, but we have plans on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna go see Spirited Away
on Sunday. Yeah. Spirited Away live action.
Spirited Away live action. Yes.
That's pretty tight. I'm pretty excited about that.
First time screening in America. Is what the word on the street is.
Also, Spider-Verse comes out in June, people are saying.
I think that's around the time Oppenheimer comes out. Either that or July.
I will say I'm devastated that you never showed the splash when I asked you to.
Oh, hold on.
I was trying to show off one of the few impressive things you've done. Also, Oppenheimer is July 21st. Goddamn.
Nice. Do I have that? I do.
Do you have it? What do you mean? Do you have it? You drew it.
Well, I didn't have it. It's fine.
Everyone look. It is a page from Kindred Heavens. It's pretty.
Big.
It's a splash page. There are actual panels here, but this is a splash panel.
Look at the little one.
Little Isabel's like one of the cutest things you've ever drawn.
This took me a long time to do, if you guys can't tell. Like, this was a really lengthy process drawing this page.
I can tell you like it because I don't think there's ever been a splash page or panel that you have included as a separate file for me to look at. Like, they're like, we have just that.
A lot of chutzpah, coming into that.
I need some Alfredo lore. What is he exactly? Her spirit animal, the goat.
A crab.
There was this comment on the post she made today that was just like a zoomed in picture of Alfredo, and it just said this hoe. It really got me. It was really funny. I like all the posts people make with Alfredo, like zooming in and like putting text, or a crab guy who gets rid of everything but Alfredo.
That Watsky album came out.
That is true. I've not listened to it.
Good.
I've actually not even listened to the first half of the album because I was just waiting till the full thing came out. So I guess now I should probably get on it.
It's out now. He follows me on Twitter.
That is true. Watsky does follow you on Twitter. That's one of the cooler things that ever happened to us. Is you getting
That's
like a
one of the
response from
few
Watsky.
times that I've ever fangirled over somebody following me on Twitter.
It's pretty fucking
Was
cool.
was Watsky. I
It's
remember listening to his YouTube shit like a long, like back in his mixtape days.
I remember bumping 4 a.m. Real Watsky fans remember 4 a.m.
And then he delisted all of his stuff and did like real albums, and those are good too. It's just, you know.
Sometimes I miss. Yeah, no, that's definitely cool, especially like I said, because you have like I like Watsky, but like you love Watsky and have been like a really hardcore Watsky supporter for a long time. You've put a lot of people onto Watsky. You actually put me back onto Watsky because I listened to him when we were younger, but then I didn't really listen to like his actual albums, and you were like, you should really listen to them. You put Echo onto Watsky. You put a lot of people onto Watsky.
Because Watsky's the goat, dude.
Fucking I always get them confused. What's the album that's not Complaint? The one afterwards.
Placement.
I fucking love Placement so much. X Infinity is his best album. X Infinity is incredible from start to finish. X Infinity legitimately might be one of the most underrated rap albums of all time. It's so fucking good. Placement is so weird. I really like it. Complaint's good too, but I really like Placement. I don't like Complaint as much as Placement. Complaint does have Mean Ass Drunk though. You wouldn't fangirl over a Zone or Derpixen follow? Does Derpixen follow you?
I don't think he does. I've had a conversation with him once before.
How'd that go?
On Discord. Cool guy. But no, I don't fangirl on like I don't know, I mean, like a lot in general. I've been a fan of Watsky for a really, really long time. Like,
the only Twitter person I can think of that made you like fangirl, not fangirl, but like was Blow the Bone when she followed you. Because like,
yeah,
I mean, like, at least to me, like, that she's like one of the goats. Like, she's been doing this. I remember, like, she's been doing this for a long time. Like, so it's like I remember knowing who Blow the Bone was long before we even were trying to do the whole Twitter shit. I mean, same with like CSR and everything, obviously. Like
her and CSR and also Fizz were exciting follows for me. Like in terms of like who I was excited about when they followed me on Twitter, is Blue the Bone and Fizz probably.
Blue the Bone's work ethic's crazy too. She puts out so much shit. Like she puts out a lot. I will say I've probably like I definitely have kind of, I guess, not fangirl, but there have been like people we've been able to have on stream that were like really big deals because, you know, I'm not like a big Twitter account, so I don't have a lot of people follow me. But there was a Beta. Having Beta on stream was like one of the big ones for me. I've been really excited about everyone we've had on stream, but like having Beta on stream was super cool, and she's super cool. Obviously having Thick with a Q on stream. Yeah, we never really thought that would happen, and it did. That was really cool. Yeah.
One of our better streams too.
Having Fidel on stream was really cool. Fidel's also just a super cool guy. Every time I've interacted with him, he's been really nice. He's very high energy.
Do you mean we're not?
I will say, every time we've been on stream, I've been pretty like, I've been, you kind of got to come into stream, with a bit of a, I don't want to say confidence, but just like, you just like kind of, you got to go into every stream not really being nervous, not really thinking about it. The only time I've ever felt out of my wheelhouse on stream was with Beta, because her personality is so legitimately incredible, and she like is very charismatic and very funny, and I felt so insignificant. Like I was like, I remember like, I don't know, man. She's just like, she's really quick and witty, and I felt like really like I just
That was
couldn't
moments where I
keep up
was
with
like,
it.
oh, we're bad. Like we're bad at streaming. Actually, she's like a good streamer.
I yeah, she is really good at just like um at just talking, at just like making people laugh and being funny and being entertaining. It's definitely one I wish we could have on stream again. Um, but it was like one where it's like when we were done, I was like, wow, we're bad. We're bad. She's a lot better than we are. I literally remember us having that conversation. She's really cool though. Also super nice. Doesn't really have any kind of ego or any kind of anything. I mean, she is very nice. It's really cool here. Gris Slice says it's really cool hearing big artists talk about other big artists. It's cool hearing where y'all came from. Feline says, hot take, no artist is truly big. We're all at different levels of skill and mileage, but we're not really better than one another. I don't know if I would say that saying someone's big is saying someone's better than someone else. I think there are a lot of artists that aren't big that deserve to be big. But I think that like I mean, maybe this is my personal opinion. Like, I think that it is important to acknowledge that there are big artists, at least for me, because I think that like it's important to acknowledge people's work. Like, nobody got big, no Twitter artist got big by not working really hard. So like CSR has almost a million, or is he at a million now? I don't know. He's really close.
He's over a million.
He's over a million now. Like, the dude busted his fucking ass to do that, and I think he deserves to be called a big artist. And people like Blue the Bone and Thick with a Q. I mean, Thick with a Q draws the craziest shit, and has like a big, you know, and few people can draw the chick from Arceus with a giant Arceus dick on her head, and like have the fan base he does. I don't know. I think people deserve the title if they've earned it. Because I think it's different than good. I think it's a very different thing than good. I think it's, I don't know. What do you think? As a big artist yourself, Scott, what's your opinion?
Well, as a big artist, you know, I think one thing that is important is don't idolize people. That is something that I've made the mistake of in the past. There have been artists that I've been like, wow, this person is so far above me in skill and following, and like, you know, it's crazy. Like, I bet that they're like, I had all these ideas of what I thought this person was like, and then I actually got to have like a conversation with them, and I was like, wow, they suck. Like, not you know, not they. It's just like, just wasn't what I thought, and I was like, oh man, I was like, because I used to think like, man, I would give anything to be like where they are, and then like I talked to them, and I was kind of like, oh, maybe not. So, you know, be careful. Don't idolize people. Don't, except for me. You can idolize me if you want to be me. I'm pretty awesome. That was I don't know. I guess disappointing would be the word for it. Obviously, I'm not gonna say who it was.
It was
or
me.
For what reason?
Sorry,
but
I'm terrible.
Well, we already knew that though. See, this was a surprise.
Fair.
You know, our artists are just people, and they get where they are for one reason or another. But don't let people's online persona give you any perception of who they are or who they might be in real life, because that's oftentimes very different. You know, we're not all who we seem.
I look up to Bryce and Scott because they're positive and helpful attitude and work ethic. I think that's fair. We're great. No, I think that I think
We're
it's
really good.
I think it's important to look up to not blindly look up to things, I guess, is kind of what Scott's trying to say. Like, to not just be like bigger number, better person. Like, Scott and I say this sometimes jokingly, like to each other. And I think a lot of people say it jokingly, but I genuinely think it's really important to not think bigger number, better person, because it's not true. And I think it's important to to take what you actually see. Grisai says, only recently did I realize it's important to admire content more than the creator. And I think that, like, to admire what you see. If you see someone's content and that's what you like out of it, admire that. If that's, what you see, don't just blindly admire a person that you're not getting to interact with. If you get to interact with Scott and I, and if you admire how we talk and what we bring to the table as people, I mean, that, that's great. But I think you don't get that with a lot of creators, and so I think it's important to make that distinction between their artwork and the person. And there's plenty of things like the whoever Scott's talking about, I'm sure he still loves their artwork, still appreciates their artwork, hasn't changed that at all, because they're two very different things.
And then there are some people that are popular artists online that are awful, awful human beings. But we won't get into that specifically.
Yeah, we don't want to tangle with fate, right?
Yeah, we don't want to fish in that pond.
Yeah, we don't want to yeah, we don't want to mess with fate.
I'm done with the black and white pages now.
They usually shall not be named. Yeah.
Page am I on? 97? Oh, dear God, the book is almost done. I've never been so excited to be finished with a book. That's not true. Maybe the Panty Bear, when I was working on the Panty Bear.
When you were working on the Panty Bear and you were in the jail cell section and you were yelling at me about how I put too much dialogue on a page. That might be the only time Scott's ever been, like, mad at me in regards to, like, my writing. Like, he had to sit me down.
Wasn't mad.
You weren't mad, but it was one of the few times you sat me down and you were like, you need to be better about this. And it wasn't like a, hey, yeah, we got to, it was like a, we can't have this happen again. So if you ever read the jail section in the Panty Bear, that was
two jail sections of the Panty Bear.
If you ever read the jail section near the end of the book of the Panty Bear, is that a better way to put it? If you ever read that section of the book, there was a lot of growth that came from. I also didn't like the section either, to be fair. Like, I agreed with everything he was saying. There was a lot of growth that came from our dislike, not of the section, not like the writing is bad or anything that's said is bad, but just of like the paneling and the amount of talking in the panels. Bye, Feline. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Bye, Feline.
On a lighter note, but still hopefully interesting, have y'all ever put out work that received incredible support, but you weren't invested into it? Ooh, that's interesting.
That happens that happens very regularly on Twitter. This is very common among artists, that they'll be like, they'll put up a drawing that's like almost a meme at this point. Like, it is a meme at this point, actually. Like, you put up a drawing and you're like, wow, this is so good, and like nobody gives a shit, nobody interacts with it. And then you put up a drawing that you kind of like shit out in 2 minutes, and then it is your most popular post ever. My most popular post ever is actually a tweet from my mom.
That is true.
But I will say the exception to this is my most popular post that I've ever done is the wholesome ending to the strip game, one of them. And I was like, I did it, and then Wholesome didn't win, and I was so upset that I posted it anyways, and it became like my most popular post ever. And I was like, fuck yeah.
You did you snapped on that Wholesome one, that first one.
I was like, I thought Wholesome would win, so I was like really going ham on it, and then it didn't, and I was just really upset. But oh well.
Also, real quick, hold on. J-Wong19 says, will the Panty Bear be able to buy physically? Well, J-Wong,
Do I have a link for you?
Here, you can buy it here if you live in America.
If you live domestically in the same country that we do.
I linked it. You did not need to link
I
it.
did it too.
Well, you did it after me. You can use this code. You can use this code for 15% off. If you live domestically. If you don't live in America, that's fine. First of all, it's okay. I don't know why I said it like that. If you don't live in America, you can we'll have an international one soon. Soon. I don't know when. Soon.
We have to figure out how.
Whenever I stop hating the dealing with that part of it, it'll get done.
But if you live in America, you will buckle up, boyo.
We had a plan, but then eBay banned us. What can I say? They really fucked our whole shit up.
Fuck eBay.
Fuck eBay.
I wrote them a letter. I just want to really reiterate.
Well, ChatGPT wrote them a letter.
Well, ChatGPT did write the letter. I didn't write the letter.
But
I asked ChatGPT, I said, how do I get unbanned on eBay? And one of the suggestions was write a letter.
And it actually was really funny. It was like, now this may seem old school, but you could write them a physical letter and mail it.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, that's a great idea. You do that. And then it did it. And so I just printed it out. I put it in an envelope. I put a stamp on the envelope, and I sent it. And by saying all that, I mean, my girlfriend got an envelope and put a stamp on the envelope. But I did drop it in the mail slot. So.
Oh, dang. Thanks. I'm a big fan of your work and excited to get my hands on it. Thank you.
Thanks. It may be signed when you get it.
Yeah, a fair bit of them are signed. We've signed... Every order so far has been signed. Like, the books have been signed. So if you want a signed copy, you order soon before we get bored of signing books.
I don't know. That probably... it depends on how many we sell, like, when we go live on, like, Twitter and the Discord and larger pools of people. You know, if we sell a whole lot of them, then they probably all won't be signed. But during this early period where it's like, you know... people just here on Twitch stream and on Patreon are buying them, it's pretty easy.
I will say, Scott and I sat in my living room and signed 40 books yesterday, and he drew 40. He was like, I'm gonna draw a little Lucio or something like funny on every little thing. I'm gonna draw like a thing. By like the 25th book, he was worn out, but he did it for every order that went out yesterday.
We love the fans. We love the fans.
My signature takes a long time. It was rough.
It looks like too little sperm.
Yeah, it does.
Bryce's signature looks like he'll draw like a B.
Yeah.
And then, but he'll do it like the bottom one's really big, so then he'll just go like this.
Yeah, that's my signature, and it's twice. It's just that twice. That's my whole signature.
It just looks like two sperm that are traveling. I couldn't believe it when I was looking at it.
Did you ever feel remotely threatened by the first wave of AI art commotion? I imagine it's not as worrying, but still concerning for you, Bryce. We spent a lot of like the early part of the stream talking about it. But I'll just briefly run through our take on it, which is just that we think AI can be exciting for art. We think it can also be scary for art. So we just don't think about it. We just try and think about the positives. But we did, I will say, spend the first like half hour of the stream was all talking about our opinions on AI art.
So if you hear more about that, then go watch the
What are you eating
VOD.
for dinner tonight? What's your dinner plans?
My fiance is doing she's at a work function, so I'm by myself. I'll probably eat Five Guys.
Fair. I'm eating some kind of shrimp roll thing from HelloFresh. It's
my HelloFresh box this week, and I haven't checked. I think I got something I didn't order because it was like scallops and bacon.
Oh, dude, you got one of the premium. That one's like $10 a thing. The scallops and bacon thing.
I don't remember ordering that. It doesn't seem like something I would have ordered.
I was gonna say, because me and Amy have wanted to try that, but it's like I said, it's fucking expensive. So we just haven't put the bullet yet on it.
Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't notice, and I don't remember. But yeah, I got that to cook this week.
Last week and this week were a little mid for me, HelloFresh wise. Or sorry, not this week and the next week are a little mid for me, HelloFresh wise. But the weeks coming up after that are pretty tight.
Like this week was pretty good for me. Last week was kind of mid. I got like the box came, and then I like looked at the meals and I was like, these kind of suck. I ordered them and I was excited about them. And then I got them. One of them was like this cold pasta. I was like, what? Why did I order this? I don't remember. That's the
You did.
problem because I pick all my meals a far
Yeah,
time out.
I do them all as they come because
I'm
like
way too forgetful to do that.
yeah. It yeah. I do that because sometimes like I'll get something and I'll be like, "Ooh, I don't like their this." Like I don't like when they do this kind of meal. And so I will say HelloFresh's pasta so far has all slapped for me. I've not had the cold pasta, whatever you had, but every other type of pasta I had have had slapped so far.
I'll tell you one thing I've learned since doing HelloFresh a lot is I'm just not a big pork fan. Not a huge.
See, it's weird. I feel like this has made me more of a pork fan because I used to hate pork chops of all varieties. But I've liked the pork chops. I mean, there's still pork chops because I try and get.
Let me clarify. Actually, pork chops I like. I just don't like ground pork, I guess.
That's fair. I don't know if I've had any meals with ground porks. Because I try and do because I get 4 meals. I try and get like a pasta, and then I try my hardest to do a fish, a chicken, and then a pork or beef. For my last one.
I try and do all beef, baby.
So
I fucking love beef.
Especially because I'm trying to eat more fish.
Fuck fish. All my homies hate fish.
Ground pork only slaps in egg rolls / Vietnamese rolls. You know what? Okay, now listen. I don't like egg rolls. I mean, I don't hate them, but like I just don't really fuck with egg rolls that hard. But, and I've not found a place that does it here yet. I'm sure some place has to do it. But in every Chinese place around me started doing this thing when I lived in Baltimore. Started doing this thing. It was like a new thing. Like I hadn't really heard of it before, where they would do egg rolls, but they were cheesesteak egg rolls. So it was everything you would put in a cheesesteak, but in like cooked like an egg roll. It was legitimately like one of my favorite things I've ever had. I fucking love it. Like I would legit order like 3 or 4 of them, and it would that like I would most exciting thing about getting Chinese food. I've not found any place that does that here. And like I said, it was only a thing that was just I remember as someone from the Maryland area, they're still doing that. Yeah, I only remember it like just starting up a few years ago, and then like it's like every Chinese place started doing it. And I fucking loved them, and I wish I could find a place here that did it, because I really like the cheesesteak egg rolls. And it's such a weird thing that people, I don't know, like I would have never thought to do it. What state are you from? I'm from Maryland. I live in Kentucky now. But I up until about 3 months ago, I'd lived my whole life in Maryland. Baltimore, baby, represent. I'm wearing my Orioles hat right now. You can't see it, but
fuck Baltimore.
Fuck Baltimore. What? Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I love Baltimore, but have you guys ever done Spider-Man fan art or planning to? Asking for a friend says Spider-Man 900.
There was a time that right after Into the Spider-Verse came out where I was smitten on a lady. And she was kind of an artist, and she wanted to draw ourselves as spider-sonas, I guess, like Spider-Man personas. And I did that, and that's probably the most desperate thing that I've ever done, if I'm being honest with you. It wasn't good, but because it was a few years ago. I don't know. That's about all
I'm surprised you'd never
that's
done
the only
like
Spider-Man fan art I've ever done.
Like a Gwen Lucia. Like a
I
Spider
could do
Gwen
that,
Lucia.
though.
That feels like something that would go pretty hard. Scott, you started and are at the same states I'm in right now. I was eating a peppermint and choke. Well, Scott's only ever been in Kentucky.
No, I'm just.
He started in
from
Kentucky
here,
and he's
dog.
still here.
Red flag warning? What is this? Is this just the fire alert?
I didn't get that. I guess my phone wants me to burn.
Outdoor burning is not recommended. Bryce, don't go burning things outdoors, please.
Oh, you have a problem with burning things indoors, you maniac.
Listen, only a couple of times.
What's Kentucky like? Not an American, so I don't have an idea. Okay, so hold on. Don't say anything, Scott. You give your impression of Kentucky living there your whole life, but let me give my impression of Kentucky having just moved here. Okay. Fucking mountains and trees and shit. And people leave their fucking garages open. And it's nice, and it's suburban where we live in Lexington. It's nice. Anywhere else I've driven outside of Kentucky? Nothing. Anyway, you go now. What's your opinion?
Chill, I think. Not a whole lot going on. Like it's not quite Mayberry, but it's like, you know, same
man went from Baltimore to open garages. He fucking gets it. Every time we drive by one, I look at Scott and I go, bro, you live in fucking Baltimore, you ain't never leave your garage open like that. He gets it. I appreciate that somebody else understands. In Baltimore, you wouldn't even leave a fucking package on your door for more than 5 minutes. Leave a garage open. Shit's crazy to me. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Now, if you asked me what Maryland's like, shitty.
Gunshot noises.
Yeah, gunshot noises. Now, Maryland's bro, you get out your car in Baltimore, you're looking 4 ways to make sure no one else is staring you down. Yeah, that's how it is. Maryland is a weird state because it's actually pretty nice. Like, there are parts of Maryland that are really pretty and really nice, but I didn't grow up in any of that. I grew up in Baltimore. I grew up right outside the city of Baltimore. I grew up in Baltimore County, which is basically still just Baltimore, if I'm being honest. Like, I wasn't directly in the city of Baltimore, but if you're in Baltimore County, you're basically still in Baltimore. Like, people will still say that. Like, I still say I'm from Baltimore, even though I didn't grow up in Baltimore specifically. And then I lived in Aberdeen for a while afterwards. Which is also, like, even Aberdeen, which is like an hour 40 minutes away from Baltimore, is still like it's still like the same kind of area, just a little bit more rural. That area, that whole sort of section is it really sucks. That whole part of Maryland really sucks. It's like really crime ridden, and it's it's just not a great place to live. But the parts of Maryland, once you get away from there, are nicer. There are nice parts. I mean, really, when you get into like Aberdeen and Bel Air and like up north Pennsylvania, they're nice. But there are some parts of Maryland, Dundalk, Essex, White Marsh can be good, can be bad. Like those kind of places. When you get there, it's rough. It's like they're not really play. And then when you get in actual Baltimore City, you don't want to be there. But yeah, I will say this, because I don't have any family that lives there specifically anymore. I was born in Canton. If anyone knows Canton, I was born in Canton. That's where I spent the first like 7 years of my life, was in Canton. I lived in Canton when Canton was a shithole. If anyone lives near Baltimore now, Canton's really nice now. They've like done a lot to like change Canton. When I was living there, it was not a nice place to live. But yeah, I didn't grow up near any of like the scenic parts of Baltimore or of Maryland, but there are nice places in Maryland. It's really weird because like half of like where because I grew up right on the coast, but there are people that grew up on the entire opposite side of Maryland, like right where it starts. Because Maryland's weird because it kind of does this like it has this curve to it, and then it's like a dagger that pokes into like Virginia, like it like fucking stabs the state next to us. So like that part of Maryland,
Baltimore,
is very different than like it's like mountains and they get like all kinds of snow and shit. And like those people that live there, it's like they get like, so it'd be like you would always like wake up and it'd be like, what schools don't have school because snow today? And it'd be like, oh, we have 2 hours late, and then they would have like fucking 4 days off because the goddamn snowstorm hit them, because it's all mountains over there. But I didn't grow up near any of that. I grew up I grew up on the coast. I grew up like I could walk 20 minutes from my house to the goddamn sea. So actually I lived so close to the coast that Scott can attest to this. I could hear boat horns constantly. Like, I mean, that's. But Maryland's cool. Maryland's just sucks because it's expensive. Maryland's a very expensive state to live in, to be taxed in, to breathe in. You get taxed if it rains in Maryland. There's a rain tax. It's just an expensive state to live in. I like Kentucky though. Kentucky's nice. You don't like a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom for $1,500? Yeah. That I had when I lived in Aberdeen, I had a 2-bedroom. Actually, no, I had a 1-bedroom with a den. So it was basically a 2-bedroom. They just can't call it 2-bedroom because it didn't. Dens don't have windows. So essentially, it was a bedroom without windows. I had a 2-bedroom essentially and 1-bath apartment that I paid more for than my current apartment, which is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom with a garage. Like I have, like I was paying like $200 more for the one in Maryland, just because it was in Maryland, and that was living in Aberdeen. If you want to live in Baltimore, 2-bedroom, like if you want to live in Baltimore, 2-bedroom, you're talking $2,000 a month more, and that's for in like Canton or like a nicer place. When you get into like inner city Baltimore, it's cheaper, but it's not really places you'd want to live. This has been Bryce's Maryland talk for the day.
Talk about crabs. Bryce,
I,
do the crab.
I can't talk about crabs. They're too expensive nowadays. Nobody eats crabs anymore in Maryland. I'm not joking. Precise. I don't know if your experience has been this too, but I ate a lot of crabs growing up, but they're too expensive now. Most people don't. The everyone eating crabs thing in Maryland is becoming a dying thing because of how expensive they've gotten. Then no, everyone's still obsessed with Old Bay. But eating crab, it used to be like every summer we would go, and like every few weeks, no matter how poor my family's ever been, it would be like we'd get like a bushel of crabs and we'd all sit and we'd pick and eat crabs. And, you know, learning how to pick and eat crabs is like the first thing they teach you in Maryland when you're born. And yeah. How's living in Kentucky? Scott has more insight on that. Before you answer that question, I do want to say we still have a match of patriotism for the state flag. I don't know. I know Kentucky doesn't because I've not seen it. Very few states love the state flag like Maryland does. There is so many like Maryland. I don't know if it's because we have a kind of a cool design for our state flag. Bro, there are so many hats and Maryland state flag shirts. People get Maryland state flag tattoos. Do people do that in Kentucky? I've not really seen it.
No, because the Kentucky state flag is just blue with like some shit in the middle. It's really boring.
Yeah, dude, you see so many Maryland state flag hats. I mean, you like a lot, and a lot of tattoos.
This is the Kentucky state flag.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, the Maryland state flag, like I said, I think it's because it has kind of a cool design, at least in comparison to most state flags. Anyway, Scott, how's living in Kentucky? You've lived here your whole life.
I like it. When I was younger, I used to think when I was youthful, a young boy, I used to think like, man, I want to go out and live in the big city, live in the Big Apple, the big NY, and like I want to be around all the noise, the lights, the party, everything. Now that I'm an old man, I'm decrepit, I'm on death's door. Not for me, man. Not for me. I like it here. It's real chill. It's real quiet. Everyone kind of stays out of your way for the most part, unless you flip them off in traffic. And
What I do wrong?
What I do wrong. And you know, I like it here. I think it's pretty calm compared. I mean, it's small. Like in most places, you're not gonna have a lot to do, you know, like compared to a city. But that's fine. I don't do a whole lot anyways. As long as I have my rock climbing gym, I'm fine. And even if you go to a place here in Kentucky that doesn't have a rock climbing gym, there's just fucking rocks everywhere.
You
so
can just go climb some
those.
shit.
Yeah, no one's gonna stop you. It's not illegal.
And if it is, just tell them it's America. I thought this was a free country.
I thought this was America.
We should tell. We've not told the flipping off story on stream yet because we weren't streaming when that happened. We should tell that story.
I don't know if we should tell that story on stream.
You don't think we should?
I don't think we should tell that story on stream.
Oh, okay. I don't really think there's anything not stream telling in it, but
I just think.
silent places are for people who aren't me. Yeah, I really thought I wanted to live somewhere. I mean, I grew up in Baltimore, so I kind of grew up somewhere like a little bustling, but it's not like in terms of bustling, it's not like Baltimore is not like a crazy bustling city. It's not like New York or anything like that's not even close. To anything like really big cities like New York or Seattle or any of the fucking cities in California. But yeah, I've always thought I wanted to live in a place like that until I went to New York and I spent a week there. And like after like 3 days, I was like, okay, get me the fuck out. It's too much. There's too many people. There's too many things. There's too much. I feel like people that like actively like those kind of places are just only if you were born there. And like that's what you know in life. I feel like it's really hard to like that kind of situation if you weren't like born there or spent a lot of time there growing up, because it's just so overwhelming. I don't know. Maybe if I was forced to live there for a long time, I'd get used to it. But
what we're saying is fuck New York.
I'm not saying just fuck New York. I'm just saying like all those kind of places. Like I feel like there's too many people.
New York kind of places.
I thought Baltimore had too many people, and it wasn't. Do you think you'd ever move out of Kentucky? Do you think you'd ever go anywhere else?
Potentially, depending on, I'd live in like Switzerland, maybe like Australia, like just some place with a lot of mountains.
A lot of rock climbing.
A lot of rock climbing. I'd go live out in the mountains. Sure, I'm into that. What about you, Bryce? Would you ever move states?
I mean, I don't know. I like Kentucky a lot. If I ever did move states, it'd probably be going back to Maryland just to be near my family. I'd never go. I can tell you I'd never move. I'd never go to Virginia. I fucking hate Virginia. I'm sorry if anyone's from Virginia. There are a few states I hate, like Virginia. Anyway, back to normal subject.
Virginia.
Fuck Virginia, dude. I really hate Virginia. No, it's just, I don't know. I just don't like it. There's fuck all in Virginia. It's just stupid. I don't know. I don't like Virginia. I think that's a Maryland thing. I think Marylanders don't like Virginia. I think people from Virginia don't like Virginia, if I'm being honest.
I'd like to apologize to all of our Virginian fans.
I don't know. They're like the one part of the DMV that we wish it could be the DM. DM stands for DC, Maryland, Virginia. People not from the DMV. So you don't think I'm just talking about the car place. Taking the next 2 days off, in a rare occurrence for me.
Oh, we won't be streaming on Friday.
Yeah, I'm taking a little break. I don't do this.
Bryce is lazy.
I don't do now. Don't say that. I will undo the break if you joke enough like that. You know I will. I don't take breaks very often, but I'm taking a little 4-day vacation starting tonight. So today is technically my Friday. God, I need it. I did a whopping 1,500 words today. I'm falling apart.
How are you even awake?
I've yawned like 4 times in the past 10 minutes. So
to be fair, I ask Bryce a lot how he's awake. This is the sleepiest man I've ever met in my life. Anytime that we're doing anything, he's like nodding off. We were on the way back from a movie. He was like resting his head on the window, like, about to go to sleep. I'm like, wow, Bryce, you look sleepy. He goes, huh? No, fuck you. I'm awake. What?
I wasn't actually sleepy that night. I'll still clarify.
Bullshit.
I got home and I was like, I was seething at the fact that you guys thought I was sleepy, and that's what was wrong. I was like, wow, they couldn't recognize. Scott working you like a typewriter. I don't know. I had a bad work day today. 1,500 words is a bad work day for me. That's a not good. If anything, Scott should be mad at me that I'm like a typewriter that jammed today. But yeah, no, normally I do like 4,000 words. Honestly, I can do a lot more, but if I want them to be good, I do like 3,000. On a day where I'm trying to write good words, I can do 3,000. On a day where I'm writing a first draft and I'm just going, I can do as many as I want. I can do 6,000 words if I need to. I've had a work day where I've written 11,000 words. Now, granted, they were all fucking garbage, but when you're writing a first draft, sometimes you just want to get through it. Bryce working Scott like a printer. Peeps in Virginia drive differently from a portion of peeps that live in Maryland. Yeah, part of the problem with Virginia is they just don't like have speed limits, and if they do, they're just crazy. So like people just drive really fucking fast in Virginia. I mean, they just don't give a shit. So that's why you hear a lot of
You
people
would know
complain.
from all of your experience driving in Virginia.
I've been to Virginia a very few times in my life. So like, yeah, I do know. I mean, I haven't driven in Virginia, but I have been there enough, and you know, to know. It's just because a lot of it's nothing. Like a lot of it's just like country roads. So it's like Virginia's just a whole lot of nothing. So like, there's just 11,000 words. How many hours? That was back when I was a young lad. I had a lot of chutzpah. And I used to work like 16 hours a day. I used to basically work and then sleep when I first started my writing career. So I don't know, probably all day. Probably however long I was awake that day is how long I did it. Because I used to just work and not do anything else. That was before I met Amy and before like I was an adult when I was like 18, 19. But now that I'm old, I can't do that. Now I can only work like 10 hours a day.
Now you're lazy.
Yeah, I can only work 10, 11. I'll work tomorrow, motherfucker. Don't fuck with me. Now I'm looking forward
your
to
day off, not mine.
Tomorrow I'm gonna sleep on my porch.
I did that yesterday, I think. I might do that today. Amy won't be home for a while.
I also might do that today. I have a plan of when we get done stream, maybe doing a little bit more work. I haven't decided, and then eating dinner, and sitting out on my porch and listening to the Orioles game. Something magical about listening to a baseball game on the radio during like a summer day. I don't know. It's a good time.
Unless it's a Reds game.
Unless it's a Reds game, yeah. Orioles play the Nationals tonight. The Reds still playing the Rays. Unfortunately. Yeah.
We beat them in one game and they took their wrath out on us last night. Their rave out on us.
No, you guys are done playing the Rays.
Oh, are we?
Oh, they beat you 8-0 today. That's why you're done playing the Rays.
Yeah, they put their
Yeah, well the game's like you guys lost 8-0.
Yeah, no. You know, like when you put out a cigarette and you just like stamp it out. That's kind of what they did to us.
You guys play the Pirates tomorrow.
We watched them play the Pirates in real life.
Levi Stout was your starter today.
Hunter Green took like a comebacker off the legs.
Yeah, I saw that.
He was just doing a sit down for a little bit. We had to go get some fella.
Fuck the Reds for real. The fucking Colkey, your team is called the Guardians. I don't even think you can talk. Like, not even trying to be rude. They called your team the fucking Guardians.
It's like an XFL team's name. Actually, I think it literally is.
It probably is.
I think Bryce and I were in a restaurant the other day, and there was an XFL game on TV, and one of the teams was called the Guardians.
That was when we learned the XFL is still around.
You know, it's owned by The Rock.
Is that oh, yeah, he bought it, didn't he? I forgot about that. Yeah, I
invest in Dwayne.
What do you think? What baseball team do you think has the best name?
The Reds.
They were better when they were the Red Legs. Pick another one.
Do you know why they were called the Red Legs?
No, why?
Communism.
XFL talk cool? What? We got XFL fans here?
Yo, the XFL fans?
I didn't know the XFL was popping. We don't watch football at all. So like NFL or XFL. So we didn't know that people fuck with A-Rod 10 says the Yankees. Surprising.
I just got it.
Yeah, I don't know what I don't know. I feel like the Devil Rays, when they were called the Devil Rays, had a pretty stupid name, but at least it was kind of kind of stood out.
The Los Angeles Angels of Los
Anaheim.
Angeles.
What are sports? I don't know, man. Does everyone still hate the Astros? Do you think anyone still cares? Is still mad at the Astros? I don't know. I
I
feel
think
like
they're always going to be that team. That's something that every time I talk to like a casual, they that's like one of the things that they mentioned. That really caught fire. Catch fire, catch fire.
I was explaining the pitch comms to my dad, and I started off by saying probably because the Astros we have pitch comms now, so I feel like it'll always be kind of brought up. I don't know. That was definitely like I think the Astros scandal is really interesting because there have been I mean, I don't follow other sports too crazily, but like, I keep up with most big events. Like, I mean, out of the big four in America, like um that has to be like the biggest cheating scandal of our lifetime, right? I mean, what would be like Deflategate?
Deflategate.
I mean,
I
but
don't even know enough about football to tell you what that was, so I can't say for sure.
But I mean, I think the Astros one was especially bad because they won a World Series with it.
Yeah.
And also because they were the team everyone liked because they were so bad for so long and they became really, really good. And so it was like it was really empowering. It was like, okay, this team was terrible for a long time and they were a small market team at the time. And like, they became good. And then, the first World Series they won, they cheated. And so, like, I think that really pissed a lot of people off. Also, because a lot of those guys were really well liked, like Altuve, and I mean, I don't know if Bregman was really well liked, but
he was always kind of a cunt. Remember when he tried to hand his bat to the?
I do, yeah. But Altuve especially because Altuve was like the nice guy of baseball.
He was just embarrassed, is all.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the Astros thing is bad. It's not as it's not as bad as I mean, like it's not like the Black Sox scandal. Like it's not like the worst thing to ever happen in baseball. It's still really bad. But as Carlos Correa said, they would have beaten the Dodgers anyway. They didn't need to cheat to win.
They just did it because it was fun. Remember when Evan Gaddis got really drunk on Twitter and
do.
Just started
just tweeting about how they cheated?
It was like, hell yeah, dude, we cheated in the playoffs. I was probably on steroids.
I do. My favorite part of that is when he said I was probably on steroids. Like, Evan, what the fuck are you talking about? What is your favorite, like, just like in recent memory, like baseball memory that's not like about like your team winning or anything like that, like just like like the Amir Garrett one comes to mind when Amir Garrett tried to fight the entire Pirates
that was
team.
Pretty awesome, I'm not gonna lie.
For those who don't know, Amir Garrett was a pitcher with the Reds and the Pirates dugout was chirping at him, and I guess he just had a fucking enough of it, and like basically like their pitching coach Reds pitching coach, like they talked to him and everything, and he was just kind of like, I'm gonna do it, and he just walked over and the man just threw himself into the whole Pirates dugout and just tried to fight the entire Pirates team by himself. That's good.
In brawl, one of the Reds players at the time, Yasiel Puig, was involved in the brawl. He was out there fighting people. He had been traded about 20 minutes before during the game. He got traded to the well, at the time they were called the Indians.
Now that the Guardians.
now they're the Guardians, and he's a Cleveland baseball team.
Um,
Um,
I also like
and
the Trey Turner, the interference at first. The wait till you watch. Wait till you
yeah,
watch.
he's yelling at
Joe Torre's
oh,
right
fuck.
there. He's right
Joe,
there. Let's ask him.
Joe.
Joe. That's also pretty good. There was in the World Series in 2020, 2019, 1 or 2 years. There was a big controversy where there was an interference play at first base and Trey Turner was called out, and he's like sitting in the dugout and like they're like reviewing the play. It might be the longest review we've ever seen. It took like 10 minutes for them to review this play. It was crazy. And like Trey Turner is just sitting there, and like Joe Torre, I forget who he was the head of, but he was like the head of the rules department or whatever in the MLB, was sitting behind home plate, and like Trey Turner's sitting there pointing, and he's like, "There's Joe Torre. Ask him the rule. Ask him. Let's just ask him. He's right fucking there. He's right there." David Martinez like, "Wait till you watch. Wait till you watch this play. Wait till you see why you're wrong." Hey, that was good. That was a fun World Series. That Nationals World Series.
We watched that because the team we were gonna root for,
The Brewers,
the
moment of silence.
Athletics.
The Athletics, actually, yeah.
We watched them get beaten in the first game, and then we were like, well, let's watch the Brewers. And then we watched the Brewers get beaten by the Nationals, and we were just like, fuck it, it's the Nationals time. And then they won the World Series.
That was during the dark era where both our teams were bad, and so we had to just root for other teams. You're still in the dark era as a Reds fan, but as an Orioles
The dark
fan,
era never ends.
I'm coming out of it. And at the very least, if I'm not, we have Adley Rutschman. He'll look great in a Yankees uniform in like 6 years, but right now he's on the Orioles, and that's all that matters.
To be like the only art stream that talks about baseball, right?
If more art streams talked about Adley Rutschman, the world would be a better place. You know, he's the second coming of Buster Posey. I don't know if you've heard that yet.
I have not, but
Every broadcast, every time anyone talks about him, they just talk about Buster Posey. Like, it's crazy. I've heard Adley Rutschman called the next Buster Posey about 2 million times. It's fucking crazy. But
R.I.P.
he's the next Buster Posey. I hope that doesn't mean his leg is going to get spun around in like a year. That'd be really upsetting.
We can wrap up when I finish this page, by the way.
Okay.
However long that takes me.
Deflategate was bad. Astros scandals will probably be the worst, unless you want to talk about NBA games that might have been fixed in the 2000s. Nothing about
do know
NBA,
about this.
so I didn't know about this.
Well, there were some NBA games, and they might have been fixed in the 2000s.
I'm all caught up now.
There was like one referee that was like the scapegoat for the whole thing, if I remember correctly. I don't know a lot about it. I just watched like a quarter of a YouTube video, maybe, about it.
No home plate collisions, thankfully. Yeah, because Buster Posey. That looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
He kind of does, right?
Wow, way to reuse your artwork. Wow, kind of cringy.
Cold working smart.
Now I bet you're gonna do a bunch of fancy effects to it. Holy shit.
So fancy.
This is what we call them Photoshop techniques, right? You can't do this in CSP.
This is what you call fancy
Pro gamer move?
driving. Oh. Gamer moment.
The amount of times I've heard you say this is what we call fancy driving is insane.
We end up in some fancy driving situations. I'm not gonna lie about it.
Yeah, but you even say it when it's not. Like, you'll be like, this isn't what we call fancy driving. You'll be like driving past the McDonald's and you'll be like, this is not fancy driving. Although actually that McDonald's kind of is fancy driving. Is that KFC? I don't know what that means. I'm being rightly honest. You know, I've not had KFC once since moving to Kentucky. I just feel like that's kind of like...
Not missing a lot.
I mean, I don't really like
Just gonna
KFC
be
that
honest
much,
with you.
so... Like, I've had it before. Like, it's not like I've been waiting my whole life to move to Kentucky to have it. But I just feel like I would have done it, like, by now, just to kind of be like, oh my god, I'm having KFC in Kentucky. Isn't that cool? Haha. But not done even once. I feel like KFC also, like, I just live with my Amy, and I feel like KFC is definitely, like, a family thing. Like, it's like, it definitely works if you have, like, 4 people in your house, 5 people. Or more.
That's true, and I don't like it enough to eat with you.
And I don't like it that much either. But I'm sure at some point here, maybe that's what I'll do on my break. Maybe I'll order KFC.
What a vacation well spent. For the record, I'm pretty excited for my week off.
Yeah, you told me you're going to order a lot of junk food. That's what you said specifically.
Well, I ain't cooking. That's for goddamn sure. Imagine cooking on your break, your time off. That sacred tradition that we all hold so dear.
Couldn't be you.
Definitely not gonna be me. Fuck out of here.
Tonight just feels like the kind of night where it's gonna hit midnight and I'm gonna want to like order food. I might do that tonight.
I don't think DoorDash is open at midnight.
Motherfucker, did I say DoorDash?
What are you gonna order at midnight?
Wait, can you not do DoorDash that late actually, really?
Not here.
That's crazy. What, really?
Yeah.
God, Kentucky fucking sucks. I take it back. I want to go back to Maryland. I've DoorDashed at like fucking 1 a.m. before in Baltimore. What?
Yeah, it, at least usually. I mean, it depends on if they have anybody working, but they usually don't.
My phone just died, so I can't check. Unfortunate.
Tragic. Whole comic book is like a PSA for smoking.
That is true. We did we were concerned when we were shipping, we were like pushing this comic around to publishers that they would tell us to tone down the smoking because the book's set in like the early 1900s. So like, you know, people smoked. And Scott and I refuse to cut things that are historically accurate. God damn it. Plus the secret, and what they don't tell you, is that smoking's really bad for you, but it does look kind of cool.
Oh no, you told him the truth.
I don't care. I'll say it. I'll say what others won't. Okay, I don't care. I will say there was at one point in this book where Scott told me that I didn't write enough characters eating food. And so I had to do a whole amount of revision. I'm actually not joking about this. I had to do a whole amount of revisions that were specifically about making sure there was more scenes of people eating food in the book.
It's like it's all about balance, you know? And we had a lot of scenes where people were drinking or smoking.
There was a point in this
Not a
book
lot
where
where they
everyone
were
was an
eating.
alcoholic. Like, it was really bad. Like, I don't know how it happened, but we both, like, every single time someone had to drink something, it was only an alcohol in the book. And we realized that. We were like, oh, we should probably tone that down a little bit. Yeah, but yeah, we added eating scenes back, and I actually think the funniest part is I think we cut a lot of the eating scenes. But we did add in, like, there's the Wallace scene where they eat and stuff like that. But there were a lot at one point.
So let's see. This is page 97. So we have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 7 pages left. I think I can get it done this week. Today is Wednesday. Oh, I thought it was Tuesday. Oh god damn it! I'm gonna get it done this week. I'm gonna get it done. I'm sick of coloring this book.
What kind of food are they eating? At Wallace's they're eating ice cream. I think that's it, right?
Hold on, give me a second, and I'll show you a picture of ice cream.
I actually think I have them specifically. I think it's ice cream with fudge and cherries.
He had a whole thing, dude. He had me pulling up reference images of like strawberry ice cream,
Well, cause
fucking
yeah,
sherbet,
because
vanilla, chocolate.
I wrote like a cute little thing for it. Like they have a cute little conversation about eating the ice cream. I'm sorry. I was trying to write a good book. I'll tell you to draw a fisheye lens again.
Could not. Let me grab a screen cap of some ice cream getting ate.
Look, it's ice cream.
Adorable. Adorable.
You put strawberries there? I didn't write strawberries. You son of a bitch! I didn't realize this.
Yeah, you did.
Did I? And I did write strawberries. I take it back.
Okay.
I don't remember saying that. I just remember the cherries. But if you say so, I agree.
I guess I'll look for somebody to stream or to raid.
Yeah, like he said, we won't be here Friday because I'm being lazy.
Lazy.
And I'm gonna be taking time off. Yeah. So we'll be back Monday. We'll be back Monday, or are you taking next week off?
It remains to be seen.
Okay, so next week the plan will be fluid. We'll see what's happening. But we won't be here this Friday, definitely. Yeah, we're finding someone to raid. I thought he'd find it a little quicker. Did you forget about the tags again? Do you need my
No, I got it. The raid's set up. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Bye,
Be nice
everybody.
to who we raid. Tell them that we sent you. Say nice things to them. Say nice things to me.